So this video was released through Linus Tech Tips, and they set out to create a computer that defied the PS5 Pro at the exact same price point. Were they able to do it? There was a huge caveat. They weren't able to match a lot of things. And in the end, I feel as if watching this video, the PS5 Pro is able to create a great market value for what you're able to get. They were not able to accomplish the same stats as the PS5 Pro with their PC build. So, I think they had the advantage based on sheer numbers of producing the exact same unit over and over again. And I think if you're a hobbyist and a PC builder, you're going to have to take a little bit of extra money to building a PS5 Pro. And I think that should be the case in any circumstance. But we'll get into some thoughts and feelings about people who've watched this video. I obviously have a massive bias repping my team PlayStation right here. So get that from me. But Jem, a PC enthusiast, did you feel as if this was a fair assessment? Did you feel like you would have done the experiment differently had you been doing it? Thoughts and feelings on this one?
Yeah, so um first of all, if I was to do this setup myself, the very first thing I would do is wait until December, I think it was, where AMD is launching literally the complete equivalent to the PS5 Pro graphics card for PC. I don't know how much it will cost, but it's the complete equivalent power to it. So I would have just started off with that as like the core, and then build the PC around it. Um, but aside from that, in this video, he goes and buys half of the PC is like just used parts. Now, as a PC gamer and who loves building PCs and upgrading and stuff, I do recommend going for used parts as well. It's more eco-friendly, it's cheaper. Do some research. Is the seller a scammer? Is there a refund policy if it's broken? What's the warranty? I do recommend buying used parts. But when you're making a video like this, if you're going to use used parts, then I think it's fair to compare a used PC to a used PS5 Pro prices, which at the moment doesn't exist. But, if it did, I think you would have to compare the used versus used. But the PS5 Pro is new, so everything in the PC should also be new, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I would have to agree. They were using a lot of used products. They were hunting or going to the salvage yard to build this PC to be able to match the PS5 Pro. And they were even making exemptions saying that they could brute raw power instead of using AI frame generation. However, I feel like if you're not offering the same features, it's not a direct comparison. But I'm going to throw it over to SPG, who feels like if you brute power, then what's the difference? You get what you get. SPG, how did you feel about this direct comparison? Would you have done things differently? And do you agree with the outcomes?
Well, I think Jem put it perfectly, which is that he would have got the new updated AMD card and then cost effectively built around that, probably with new parts to compete. But here's the thing. This is one person trying to build the equivalent of a PlayStation that they built a million of to give it to you at that price point. Okay? Like, you got to put it into a little bit of context. This guy's just going to buy parts to build an equivalent machine. Now, all that it shows is that the PS5 Pro gives value. And I would say if you're bought into that ecosystem, that's value enough anyway, if you want higher frame rates. But there's a few things that weren't exactly right. They didn't exactly get 2 terabytes. They didn't have Wi-Fi 7. Not that that matters. But like to make it equivalent, like for that exact price, it can't be done without going, bargain bin shopping. But when it comes to brute force and stuff, that what they built will run games at a native resolution, and give you a higher frame rate. So as in performance goes, I think it kicked its butt. PC will. Just the APUs and the way they have shared RAM pool and the way that they're designed is just limited compared to dedicated hardware. It always will be, man. It just always will be. But they came really close with some bargain bin stuff. I agree with Jem as well that with e-waste and everything that's going on, you should have some used parts. But or don't be scared of it as long as you know what you're buying from. Research the part and make sure that it's from a good manufacturer and it outlives its normal lifespan or whatever. You know, there's things you can do, but a direct comparison video, I think it kind of failed, as Jem said.
Can I add?
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Dude, this wasn't a comparison because comparison means parts have to be equivalent, and it wasn't. So it wasn't a good comparison. Um, don't I think it just showed people how to build a gaming PC on the cheap, which is not bad. But at the end of the day, dude, let's be honest. There's a lot of people that are terrified of PCs, and I've been telling some of my friends that live out here, I'm like, dude, PC. I mean, I once upon a time I was scared of the PC. You know, a lot of people are just so used to the norm. Just get a console every 5, 6 years. You know,
I
so
will say this though, the PS5 Pro is pushing people in that direction with the price
is.
point, and they have to mess around. Now they have to think, do I want a PS5 Pro? Well, what monitor are you running? You know, do you have the proper, cables to even get what you're trying to get out?
I think there's some. I think that there's guys that just don't really do the research, and they're playing it on TVs and they're playing it on monitors, and they're not getting the full graphics
Um,
that they should from the machine.
a lot of people I feel like forget that some people get the PC for specific reasons. I know people who have PCs so that they can mod Baldur's Gate, or they have a PC that they can play Lethal Company and mod that, or I know people who just use their PC for like League of Legends and Valorant. They're like the only games that they play on PC. So so I think there's specific uses for like PC if you're a PC dedicated gamer and compared to a console gamer. So I never really understood this whole comparison thing because a PC will do more than a PlayStation. Yeah, it'll be more expensive, but that's kind of what you get. It's a dedicated device versus something that's more open form where you can kind of modify it how you want.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
only point, my only point would be is that they're getting closer to PC gaming to where they want to check out how many frames am I getting, what
Yeah.
settings can I tweak. Like they're getting their first steps into that world in a sense to where it is just as simple as buy the console and plug it into your TV. But if you're worried about refresh rate, and you want to get the most out of it, you're gonna have to dig into it a little bit. It's more similar to PC than the console has ever been.
You know what? Honestly, dude, all I see, and I'm just keeping it real, is photos, that's all I see. People showing their pictures. Hey guys, look at Horizon. Hey guys, look at this. They're just showing the graphic.
Yeah.
Like, look how good the graphics are on Threads and on X.com. People are uploading their gallery, their pictures.
Yeah, and typically they're PlayStation games, but that's just because they look beautiful. Anyways, that's a bias from me. This is
could add.
a interesting topic for sure. It will be a debate until time's end.
Well-
Console versus gaming PC. One question I have for the panel, and I'll be curious to find this out. If you go to a restaurant, do you think it's okay to change things from the menu, or do you stick with what the chef has created? Like, do you pick and choose things? And I'm wondering if this translates to gaming. So, Jem, I'll start with you. Do you stick to what the chef has prepared, or do you change things in the menu?
Well, I go to a restaurant and the chef just gives me a food.
Well, if you go to a
Well,
restaurant and you get a menu, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I like this, but I don't want tomatoes," would you do something like
Oh,
that?
I
I
see.
have a peanut allergy. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
want the salad to
Yes.
kill me.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
Now,
would.
now we see.
Yeah, I would.
You
Yeah.
would change things.
Yeah, because like in a English breakfast meal, you get eggs, and I can't tolerate eggs, so I always ask a replacement, like instead of eggs, give me like more bacon or something.
There you go.
I love Alfredo sauce. I always like if I go for pasta, can I not get the red sauce? Can I get Alfredo sauce, please? And they
Oh
say
my
sure.
goodness. Everyone's gonna be a menu changer. SPG, are you a
Yeah,
menu changer too? Or do you?
damn right I am, man. Because
Oh
they
my
like
gosh.
listen, man. 'Cause they like to put big pickles on sandwiches, and I don't mind pickles, but I don't want a soggy pickle flavored bread. I'm good on that,
Right?
bro. I'm gonna take no pickles.
Hey,
All
Root,
right,
Root, come to
Reaver,
dinner out here in
Yeah.
California, dude.
you're my last hope. Are
Okay.
you a menu changer, or would you just stick to what the chef has made?
I would be a changer too.
Oh my.
Like on my burger, for example. Like I didn't want any ketchup, right? I was like some hot sauce. Hot sauce would be going good on hamburger. And yes, what SPG said. I would rather have like smaller pickles than a big one.
Well, listen. Here's the deal, man.
Yeah, he loves those big pickles.
I'll
The chef
hey.
has created something, and I'm gonna stick to it. I honestly do not like any substitutions. I'm not a substitutions person. I
Root,
don't.
it depends on what restaurant you go
Yes,
Yes.
to.
yes.
It depends on what restaurant you go
Yeah,
to.
I will straight up walk up to the counter of McDonald's and say, "I want a 20-piece chicken nugget. Drop them fresh. I'm fat. I'll know the difference."
Yes.
Fine dining, fine dining. I let the chef do whatever. But dude, if it's come on, man.
Yeah. That was a fun one. I just wanted to see if it translated to console versus PC gamers, but it didn't. It's just a Rudix thing. I've got complexes, but let's move on.
Hey, one last thing.
Yeah,
You
go
were
for
you
it.
brought up the PS5 Pro. One last thing.
Yes.
By the time the PS6 rolls around, they're going to keep using the PSSR. You'll have a version 2 that'll probably have frame gen, and by then, the frame rate isn't going to be an issue anymore, in my opinion. If they invest in it and it turns out as capable as they want it to be.
Yes, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost you that.
I've heard what the second iteration of PSSR is called, and it's Prussia.
Under pressure.
I have a
All right.
brilliant monetization idea for Sony. They should lock PSSR behind PS Plus.
Oh my god. You know what, Gem? There was a discussion on PlayStation Bros that they actually plan to put the haptics behind an exterior cost or a subscription cost. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. The pure core of what makes PlayStation, having haptics on your controller, is being rumored to be put behind subscription. And I think that's bonkers. So I nothing's impossible. They could definitely put PSSR behind a subscription. Well, enough doom and gloom on the PlayStation side.